All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Crypto News and Investigative Reports. I'm glad that you're able to join us today. We are Crypto News and Investigative Reports. Please follow us on Twitter. Our handle is RobTech, ROBTECH, right here, RobTechP. Please give us a click also on that YouTube and subscribe. Be a part of the Crypto News and Investigative Reports community. Also, click the bell. That bell, when you click that bell will give you an alert. It'll let you know every time we put up a video. We'd like to have you be a part of our Crypto News and Investigative Reporter community, where we just share the news, nothing but the news, all day, nothing but news. All right? Glad that you're able to join us today. Matter of fact, let's get into some news right now. First thing I want to talk about today is you take a look at the markets. The markets look pretty good. Bitcoin is still holding a 50% dominance. It's currently above $4,000. That was actually the big news of the week, is Bitcoin moved above the $4,000 mark again. 413.31 right now on Litecoin Watch. Ethereum's at $139.09. XRP is at 31 cents, and Litecoin has actually been getting some pretty good movement. It's $59.59. So we're really getting some real good movement out of Bitcoin and Litecoin. And I think I want to talk to you about why. I think I have an idea why Bitcoin is moving pretty well, and so is Litecoin. But I want to start with what I call a parallel story. And I've always said this from the beginning of doing videos, is that there is a predicted 2020 financial crisis. It's being predicted by some very knowledgeable people. Ben Bernanke is one. Janet Yellen is another one. Jerome Powell is another one. Jerome Powell, Ben Bernanke, and Janet Yellen were all Federal Reserve chairmen at one time. Currently, Jerome Powell is currently the chairman of the Federal Reserve right now. I don't know if you're able to catch their interview on 60 Minutes. The interview on 60 Minutes was very interesting. They didn't really have any really good thing to say about the economy, the debt. They were just talking about being cautious and being careful, and all signs are showing towards some type of recession, some type of crisis. And I bring this story up because I want to talk about Bitcoin and Litecoin. But anyway, if you want to read this story, I'm going to be tweeting this story a little later on. It's going to be on my Twitter feed, so you can go and catch it. Forecasters may be anxious not to be caught out as they were by the 2008 recession. Nonetheless, the signs look ominous. So it doesn't have really, this is The Guardian, very reputable a news source, The Guardian. It says, there is a tendency for institutions that missed the warning signs before the last financial crisis to overlook their doomsday warning as they consider the potential of another one. It says the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, leads a group of gloomy forecasters that worry about the stability of the global economy amid rising debt levels and showing the GDP growth. How long, they ask, can the expansion seem since the last crash go on before another recession hits? So they are actually talking and predicting, like I said, about another financial crisis because of the debt. Of course, you're seeing a lot of quantitative easing. A lot of the central banks are selling off. So it's just a lot. It's just a lot going on right now regarding the United States and the debt situation that the United States is in. Nevertheless, this is an excellent article. You might want to go by and our Twitter feed and read it. I have the article linked at the bottom. I have it linked on this YouTube video at the end of the video. All right. Also, so like I said, the reason why I bring this up, and this is not the first time. I mean, they've been predicting this for a while. Ben Bernanke wrote an op-ed post in the Washington Post about the same thing not too long ago, and I reported on that as well. So I'm kind of piggybacking on my last video about Venezuela, and in those two parallel stories, the predicted coming financial crisis and the cryptocurrency revolution, because cryptocurrency came out of the 2008 financial crisis. The question to me, in my mind, is what virtual currency can you use to hedge or be able to use in a financial crisis? And I think there's no better place to look at that right now than in Venezuela. To me, that's a very big story that's not getting a lot of attention because maybe it's because banks or some of the other financial institutions don't want to say or don't want to look directly into that situation and say, you know what, people can use Bitcoin and they don't have to go to banks, right? Or not use a bank coin, quote unquote, but they're actually using Bitcoin. And somebody sent me some information that they're using some Litecoin, and somebody else sent me some information that said they were using some Dash too. But we know we're getting movement out of Bitcoin and Litecoin. And I think the reason why we're getting movement out of Bitcoin and Litecoin is simply because they are being tested in Venezuela right now as virtual currencies that can be used when the fiat currency is not available and the banks are being shut down. Here's a headline. It says, Venezuela Bitcoin to the rescue as U.S.-led Visa Mastercard boycott looms. So what's happening here is it looks like the United States are going to put some kind of pressure on Visa and Mastercard not to do business during the political uprising in Venezuela. So you have this political problem, which I don't want to go into because I don't really care about the political problem. I care more about extrapolating the position of the virtual currency and what we can learn from that situation. What virtual currency can hold? Which virtual currency has sustainability in a crisis? And honestly, this is precedent setting because it's never been proven or it's never been shown that a virtual currency can hold sustainability in the middle of a financial crisis. And what we're looking at right now is we're looking at a virtual currency, which is Bitcoin, Litecoin, and like I said, there's been some Dash, and maybe there might even be some smaller ones that I'm not aware of. But I know Bitcoin and I know Litecoin are receiving some sustainability and helping people survive in the middle of a financial crisis, with banks being threatened, being shut down, and even pressure being put on Visa and MasterCard to boycott Venezuela. And that's what this article is talking about. No more Visa and MasterCard payments for Venezuela. So it's pressure. The U.S. government officials say Trump administration considering further economic sanctions against President Maduro-led regime in Venezuela. This time, the U.S. will be prohibiting payment firms like Visa and MasterCard from providing service in their country. Look at that, guys. That is a big, bold move by the United States. Just think what kind of problems that's going to cause when you make those type of, the consequences are going to be, they're going to be really, really tough. The consequences. So, especially for the Venezuelan people who use Visa and MasterCard. Now they're not going to be able to use that. But Bitcoin to the rescue is what this article says. Bitcoin to the rescue as the U.S.-led Visa MasterCard boycott looms. Now, I think here's another article saying the same thing. Visa and both of these articles came out a couple of minutes ago, about 10 o'clock. Visa and MasterCard may stop operating in Venezuela, which is the big news. So there's a lot of pressure being put on these two cards. And as a matter of fact, cards are considered virtual currencies too, by the way, because we're only talking about numbers. But anyway, as you can see, you can tell from these two headlines that there is pressure being put on the Maduro government, financial pressure being put on these companies, these payment providers, not to do business in Venezuela. So the consequence to them not doing business in Venezuela is that Bitcoin has to come to the people's rescue. Now, the reason why I say that is because in the middle of a financial crisis, you can already know what we're learning here, to me, and it's my opinion, what we're learning here is that in the middle of this financial crisis, you can use Bitcoin and you can use Litecoin to get out of the trouble. Wow, that right there says a lot. That they are actually using these two virtual currencies instead of using fiat currencies to survive. And I think that's the big story right there. Let's take a look. I use MarketWatch, and I'm glad MarketWatch has cryptos now. So you can go to MarketWatch. It's free. You can click on crypto. And as you click on cryptocurrency, you can take a look at the charts. And so what I clicked on is I clicked on the 5-day charts. And, it shows the MACD. It shows everything. And so here it is right here. In the last 5 days, we saw a sprout up, man, on the 16th. Bitcoin shot up to $4,072.80 right there, and you can see the blue line is the USD, and it shot up to $4,072.86. And right now, it's holding pretty steady around the $4,000 mark, 3996.98. So it's actually holding really strong right around that $4,000 mark. So that's pretty good for Bitcoin. Everybody's trying to write Bitcoin's obituary and try to write Bitcoin off because it's not scalable and it takes up so much electricity. And when you start talking those kind of things, to me, you can't put a cap on technology. If it came out, and Bitcoin's only 10 years old, 2019 maybe, or it's young 11 years old, if somebody want to argue that point. But you can't put a cap on technology, so you actually don't know what's going to be the technological future for this particular cryptocurrency. But anyway, so it's still hovering around for. So you see all of the movement, and I think the movement on Bitcoin is because that is being tested in Venezuela right now. The Venezuela market is what's actually pumping. On my last video, I showed you it pumped $60 million in 2 weeks. So that's a lot of money. So that's real use case stuff. It's actually really being used. So it's staying around that 4,000 mark, and I'm pretty sure as long as as it continues in Venezuela, you're going to get a lot of activity out of Bitcoin because of the Venezuela crisis. Also, let's take a look at Litecoin, because it's been moving pretty good too. Let's go crypto again. You just click crypto. Here's Litecoin. You click Litecoin, and here it is. Wham! So it's Litecoin's at $58.80. Let's see if we can get. Let's get a 5-day market. This is 1 day. Sorry about that. Anyway, it's $58.80. So I wanted to look at the charts. Where did I get the chart from on the last one? I'm lost, guys. Sorry about that. Anyway, so now we're able to see. Well, here's the chart. Here's a small chart for Litecoin. Quote currency overview. Anyway, so here we have it. You're getting movement out of Litecoin. Litecoin is moving pretty good. 5-day performance, you see right here for 5 days there is up 8.41%. It's being able to be sustained. You're sustainable, and that's really the big thing. That's really the big point I want to make. Maybe this is what I was looking for. Advanced charting. It's moving really slow. I'm sorry, guys. It's not coming up here too good. Here it is. Wow. Let's go to 5-day chart. Wow, it's moving kind of slow. Sorry about that. Okay, good. Here we go. We got a 5-day chart. Wow, that took a long time to load. I thought I was lost. All right, so over the last 5 days, it went up to $60.17. What did I say? Is that right now? Now it's $58.80. Within the last 5 days, this was on the 3/16. It was at $60.17. So it's actually moving, and now it's down $58.84, $50.80. So, what my point is during this financial crisis right now in Venezuela, you got a lot of good movement between two virtual currencies. And I think when virtual currency is moving, any virtual currency is moving good, then I think it's good for all virtual currency. That's my opinion. And now you're watching in the middle of the financial crisis, Litecoin and Bitcoin is moving because those virtual currencies are being used in the middle of the financial crisis in Venezuela. And I think that has a lot to do with both of these virtual currencies moving, Bitcoin and Litecoin. And like I said, somebody sent me some information on Dash, but I never researched Dash. I haven't researched any of that at all. So anyway, so you're able to look at both of those. And now here's the problem. And here's the last point I want to bring out about that. It says Bitcoin volumes in Venezuela plummeted during nationwide blackout. Now that's the argument that a lot of people are making, that about the electrical, how much energy, how much electricity it takes to mine Bitcoin, and how much energy it takes to, and it's sucking up all the energy. And everybody talk about China has these big, huge mining facilities, and they're 90 something percent of the mining is in China. But you know what? Let me say this again. This is technology. And what's out today is probably antiquated already because of what they already know that they're going to be using tomorrow. And so Bitcoin, the headline says Bitcoin volumes in Venezuela plummeted during nationwide blackout. So the people knew that if they can black out, if they can shut down the electrical, then they can keep people from using Bitcoin and Litecoin and other virtual currencies, because you need electricity, you need connections to be able to do that. So what I want to bring into the picture right now, what the next movement of not having blackout, or that can't stop the process of having energy, is moving to solar energy. It says solar energy reduces mining costs by 75%, say a Bitcoin miner. And so a lot of these places where there's a lot of sun, like in the Mojave Desert, there's I've recently read about the Mojave Desert, where there's a big Bitcoin mining group of people out there, because they're using solar to mine Bitcoin. And so you won't run into this situation like you did right here, that plummeted during a nationwide blackout. You won't have that problem, because now you're using solar energy, which is the sun, to hit these solar panels, and therefore you're saving, and you're not running into the same problem that you're having with plug-in electricity and that kind of thing. Now you got solar power, which is, nobody can stop solar power, unless they're gonna go up into space and block the sun or something. All right, so that's what I'm saying, building on technology. And then, not to mention these solar mining groups that are popping up all over the world. Now you also have Ikea creates a blockchain solar powered miniature village prototype. And so you might want to go by and read this, because they're talking actually about building solar powered villages to mine virtual currencies. So that's where I want to stop right there, because you get the picture of what I'm saying. Because it dropped, it still dropped. They were using Bitcoin, but it dropped when they went to the blackout. That's what made it drop down from its $4,070. Right in the middle of the week when they hit the blackout, then it dropped down. Bitcoin dropped down. All right. But anyway, let me recap once again. Bitcoin is still holding a 50% dominance. Actually, that number is down too, because that number was at 50 last week. I think it was 51, 52%. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. And the market cap was about 141 or something like that. But Bitcoin is still holding a 51% dominance in the market, and the market for Litecoin and Bitcoin is moving pretty well. Like I said, they're still talking about a 2020 financial crisis, guys. They're still talking about it. And I think that might be the catalyst to move people from fiat currencies to virtual currencies, just like that's the real world, real time, real thing happening right now in Venezuela, is what will be happening if this 2020 financial crisis prevails. And then I told you about Venezuela Bitcoin to the rescue, as a U.S.-led Visa Mastercard boycott looms. And there was a couple of articles. There's even more articles out now. I looked at my news aggregate, and there's more coming out now. All right. So and then I kind of went through the charts and kind of gave us some numbers. I think really, guys, all the news is in the charts. By the way, the news for virtual currencies are in the charts, especially like Bitcoin, because you got 10 years of charts on Bitcoin, so that makes it a much easier. Maybe not easier is not the word, but you can really research it better because you got more history behind it, as opposed to some of these other virtual currencies that are new and that are not. You don't know if they can work out or not. They're all testing, and you hope they do. But actually, Bitcoin is actually being used right now in a financial crisis, and Litecoin. And then I told you how they try to shut it down. They try to do a nationwide blackout to shut down the mining and the power. And then I told you they're going to be moving to solar power to handle it. All right. Once again, follow us on Twitter. We're Crypto News and Investigative Reports at RobTech, ROBTECH, RobTech P. All right. Thank you for joining us today. We'll talk to you soon. Oh, wait. One more thing is, within a couple of weeks, we're going to be releasing some more information that we got coming. We've got some great things coming that we're working on. So please stay tuned for that, and pay attention, because we got, for the Crypto News and Investigative Reports community, we got a big announcement that's going to be coming in a couple of weeks. All right? Okay. Thank you for joining us.